the stem cell specialists. They can be yours too. They're the stem cell specialists of the Tennessee Titans. You know why? Because it works.
Make an appointment today with Kellum Stem Cell Institute.
Good afternoon. I'm Lucas Panzica, broadcasting live from Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park from Titans training camp on 104.5 The Zone. Day 2 of padded practice in the books. No injuries to report. Chidobe Awuzie remains out with a calf injury. L'Jarius Sneed was spotted at some point in team drills. Jamal Adams was not a participant. Harold Landry back for a second consecutive day, telling media he lost 10 to 15 pounds after dealing with illness last week. Titans will be off, at least not open to media tomorrow, and then back at it over the weekend with media in attendance. Around the NFL, Chicago Bears wide receiver DJ Moore has reached an agreement on a 4-year, $110 million contract extension. It's the largest in franchise history. Moore had a career year with Chicago in 2023 after being traded from Carolina. Tonight, the B.J. Callahan era officially begins for Nashville Soccer Club as the Boys in Gold take on Mazatlan at Geodis Park in Leagues Cup group stage play. Kickoff slated for 8 p.m. You can watch on Apple TV. For all your foundation repairs and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
And off we go. Good afternoon to you. Welcome in as he is the hitman, Blaine Bishop. I am Joe Hunk, brought to you by All Four Seasons Garage Doors here on 104.5 The Zone, as it is a beautiful day outside, a hot day outside, except Blaine's got his jacket on.
Oh, no. It's chilly in here. And I like it, chill. So that's why I bring my extra 104.5 The Zone zip-ups, and I just go on and, tidy up, man. Everybody else is hot outside, man. It was scorching out there for those players.
Oh, if you're looking on Zone TV and where you can watch on YouTube, Facebook, X, or Twitch, and you see my face right now, just wait until tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. You get a little burnt?
Oh, it's going to be worse tomorrow. It is going to be bright red.
You can't wear a hat over the mohawk?
No, is
that an issue?
I'm okay with wearing a hat.
visor or something.
Well, see, there's two things. One, I lost my shades, so I had sunglasses, so I have no sunglasses anymore.
Well,
I've
you
lost
only
those.
have one pair of sunglasses.
I only had one pair of sunglasses. I had these same pair of sunglasses for almost 5 years. I've had the same pair, and I sat them down at Bridgestone before the SEC tournament when we were all broadcasting over there. Uh-huh. And when I turned around, they were gone.
Oh.
So, lost my shades, and then I like the Hawk to be flying. So I like the Hawk to fly, and so I will normally be watching or be fixing the Hawk as we go, like the fresh shave on the side, like I was good. What I didn't do is I didn't put sunscreen on at all.
I know your head is red.
And Coach Mack today sees myself and Rhett and Amy Wells, and we're all standing underneath this one little shady spot, and he's like, nope. And so we all had to walk out into the sun. And so there we were, as Jackson's getting to hang out back here in the studio doing his thing.
Hunk, so you said you lost your sunglasses at the SEC basketball tournament?
Yes.
That's in February.
Yes.
Or March. March, I'll give you March.
Yes.
I wasn't going to bring it up.
You've had 4 months to get new sunglasses.
No, but see, here's the thing. These were a gift.
Oh, they were getting.
Yeah.
Oh, so it was a freebie.
They were free. They were some Ray-Bans. They were nice.
They were high end.
They were nice.
Yes, but with the amount you drive, how often? I mean, you stop at a lot of gas stations. You know what gas stations sell? Blaine, you know what gas stations sell?
I do, because I always buy cheap sunglasses or get them for free, because I know I may misplace them, and I won't be upset that I bought some cheap glasses from the gas station, or if I was given some. I always have them. I have them in my car. I have 5 pair all
Blaine,
over the
he
place.
passes a Buc-ee's. They probably have the designer
I know that
sunglasses.
They probably do.
Oh, I stop at that Buc-ee's every time.
I've had to hit that exit multiple times because the wife sends me out on the Facebook Marketplace hunt. She buys it, I go pick it up. And so there's been plenty of times where I've been behind that Buc-ee's and I put, they probably do have the good sunshades. But see, the other part about this is today's the last day of July. And so it's kind of like Christmas for some people, where when you get close to your birthday, you stop buying stuff because you start saying, I kind of need some things.
What was your excuse in April?
That was the fact. You know what it was?
In June. Thank you, Jack.
Yes.
Jackson, call him out.
No, here it was. I thought that I put them in my bag. And so I kept telling myself, you need to go through your bag. You need to see if they fell in your bag, if they're somewhere down there, if they're in a crevice somewhere. I did. I did. I kept thinking that they were there. I contacted.
Come on, you play baseball. You can't ever tell the coach that you thought. Don't think.
I know. Like, you guys are not wrong about this. And so the whole day, it wasn't until the past 2 days that I've really actually needed the shades, because when I'm driving,
and you also need shades and sunscreen.
I need the sunscreen. That is.
I don't want
another thing you can buy at a gas station.
For real?
Yes, you can.
You can buy sunscreen
right
at a gas station.
Yeah.
I didn't know you could buy it at a gas. I knew you could buy oil.
I always feel weird going to a gas station now, because over the last 3 years I have a Tesla, so I don't need gas. So I just drive up there to go get a donut, a gas donut, or a gas burrito or hot dog or something. Oh man, I'm craving for this. And then I see the ice cream, I see the chips, I see the glasses up there, chargers.
You can buy anything at a gas station.
Yeah, I mean, yes.
But see,
especially if it's a twice daily.
Wait, so hold on. No, trust me, those are there. And we're talking about the store, not the player. And so the whole thing about the gas station is, though, for you, so do you just stop for a bathroom break and you're like, dang, I feel bad because I don't need gas?
I know. I'll try to find something to buy. I'll buy a case of water.
Some Dots, those Dots pretzels that are absolutely amazing. Yes. Like those things.
That's what I said. I'll find a cinnamon roll, something. But I'll find something. I can't just
people giving Blaine a look like, why is a Tesla?
And I'll pull up and park right in front of the door too. I was like, man, this is weird. I haven't been here in a long time.
So, that was it. So going back to it, so Coach Mack had us, we're all out there on the field. The sun is shining, and it's a beautiful day, but dude, I was sweating like I was practicing today.
Oh,
I feel bad.
Yeah.
For anybody I walked around, I just said, look.
I was watching you from afar.
You don't. Yeah.
I really was.
Jackson, since we're talking about me.
I said, this ding dong.
Ask Blaine where he watched practice from today.
I was in practice.
Where'd you watch practice from?
I cannot reveal my sources, but I was indoors in air condition, because I would refuse to go there and then go to practice and have to go take a shower.
In Blaine's defense, he put in his time sweating out on the practice field at St. Thomas Sports
So
Park.
I have this ritual that I do during training camp where I go sit up there and I watch practice, even if it's 3 fields, and I feel like I get a lot of confidence because I'm not worried about, oh my God, it's hot. Oh, let me follow him over here. Let me go over here. Who am I watching? Oh, I missed that. What? I was watching the defense.
It was.
So up top, you can really kind of see a little bit of everything. You got a better view, to be honest, for me. So. You up there, with some, season ticket holders too as well, and food.
Yeah, you get food. I'm over here having to ask the coaches, "Is it okay if I have some water?" It was totally different worlds on this. So I'm standing beside the offensive and defensive line as they're doing one-on-ones and stuff, and I'm sweating just drenched, just pouring down my.
So how did the O-line and they look in the one-on-ones? Right? You talking about one-on-one?
One-on-ones. I will tell you the biggest thing, especially going back to yesterday, there was almost a fight. Almost.
Again?
There was almost
no.
a fight.
This is in one-on-one, so it wasn't a fight yesterday.
So what happened
In one-on-one.
is it was one of the, and I
Who
can't
were
remember.
the culprits?
So what happened is the actual defensive lineman, which I didn't get numbers. I was just watching because a helmet flew off. And so once the helmet flew off, one of the the offensive lineman was continuing to block the player. And so the defensive linemen started getting mad and they started shoving each other. But then every single person, whether it was offense, defense, coaches, everybody said, nope, not doing this today.
Stop
Everyone,
that.
like, no,
Stop this. So guys was up there like, nope, you let's go back to your corner.
Absolutely.
Go back to your corner.
Absolutely. No, we're not doing this today. After everything that happened yesterday, we are not doing this today.
And then they realized how exhausted they were yesterday after that happened because they spent so much energy trying to, throw haymakers and break up fights and everything else. That's exhausting. And they wasted a whole bunch of time and made their practice longer.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But
I stayed away from all of that.
Well, see,
you never heard of me unless somebody punched me in the eyeball. I was like, man, that's exhausting. It's just exhausting even to break up a fight. I used to stand from afar because I'm already in a run. I got to run all the way up there. Oh, no, they're not getting that kind of energy from me, man. Not no training camp.
Yep. And so it was awesome to see, like, from yesterday's padded practice to today's padded practice, how quickly everybody said, nope, we're not doing this again. We're not going through all the stuff that we went through. Everybody calmed down quickly, and it was good.
I have to say this, though.
Yes, go ahead.
And I don't want people to take this the wrong way. This is football, and a little bit of that is always good.
Yes.
When it's amongst you and your teammates, because it's no different than anything else when you get in a disagreement with your wife or maybe you've punished your kid. It almost are in your brothers and sisters get in arguments and fights and everything else. You bring yourself closer together after something like that happens. So I could say that somewhere along the way, we're going to look back on this and say that this was a positive because we just saw it today. You did in one-on-ones. I got there right after one-on-ones. That, see everybody now sees where we need to be and like protecting one another amongst your teammates. So that's the positive came out of yesterday.
Well, and with the one-on-ones as the practices were going, you were seeing things like Peter Skoronski was starting to do extremely well when it came to way he was blocking today. You were able to see even J.C. Latham. There was a period or two of times where you were able to see him block well, but there's some telling things that he obviously needs to continue to work on before he gets, before we get to week 1 against the Bears. But the offensive line play, as far as the ones are concerned, outside of that right tackle position, which I know we're going to talk a lot more about throughout the day today because there's a lot of things with that right tackle position.
I'm nervous.
You can almost go ahead and just say, here's your left tackle, your left guard, your center, your right guard. You can almost say these are your guys. It's just one position on the offensive line that you're going, all right, we're circling that one. That's the one we've got to figure out.
So they got Charles, they got Cushenberry, they got Skoronski, and they got Latham.
Yep.
So now it's just the right tackle, which I know everybody's assuming is MPF. But what I will say is MPF has been off this whole offseason. I know he's been in the meetings. I even heard, O-line coach Callahan talk about that. But there's one thing about being in the meeting. It's another thing about being out there executing and hitting Bertha. He has not done that. No. He has a shoulder injury now, a knee injury. He will be back at some point, I'm sure, here with this week or next week and be out there. But he hasn't actually done the reps and actually executed all the coaching that Callahan has done the whole entire offseason physically.
Absolutely.
And that is a big difference. And that puts, an asterisk by him until he gets there. And the reason why I say that is because he's still a developing player. And he only played, I'm going to give him a little below average in totality over his first 2 years. So I want to see more. And he needs that coaching, by the way. So, and then he's coming back from injury. So there's a lot of, thought process that goes into this, and they need to have a backup plan if he's not ready. And I'm interested to see what that is. I don't know if that's Duncan or whoever else may be on the roster could do it. Even Dylan Radens maybe at times, backing up at that spot to make sure if he's not ready to go, then you must have a backup plan.
Yeah, and Peter Skoronski is one that there's a lot to take away from the way that he practiced today, and especially things that coaches as well as people that were on the side where all of the offensive linemen were, that you were able to kind of see some things and some differences between him with year 1 and year 2, as well as what he was doing around like the 6-week mark and things like that. We'll talk more about that as we come back. The F&M Bank chat is open to you on YouTube, Facebook, X, as well as Twitch is where you can watch us on Zone TV. Josh wants to know about the running backs. We'll talk about that as well when we come back, as the Titans wrapped up practice earlier today. And we've got more for you there. Big Jeff spoke about everything that happened yesterday, which played into what happened today between the defensive line and offensive line and how quickly they shut it down. All of that coming up next here on 104.5 The Zone.
Hey, Tennessee, summer's in full swing, and Cool Ray's here to make sure your home is ready for all the fun and the sun. We've got some sizzling deals that will keep you comfortable and worry-free all season long. So ensure your family stays hydrated and healthy with free water quality testing, because nothing beats a refreshing drink of pure water on a hot summer day. So get ready for summer activities with a $500 off tankless water heaters and $250 off tanked water heaters. Perfect for endless hot water when you need it the most. And don't forget, keep your home cool and comfy with a $49 AC tune-up. So make sure your air conditioner is ready to beat the Tennessee heat. And this summer, let Cool Ray take care of your home so you can focus on making memories. So call us today to take advantage of these scorching hot deals at 615-570-0900. That's 570-0900. Cool Ray, keeping Tennessee cool, plumbing right, and always lights bright.
So many people trust Two Rivers Ford. Football players, working moms, business owners. Why? Because Two Rivers Ford has been doing business with integrity for decades. Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer.
Jackson, did you go see this yesterday?
No.
So did you not? You just playing this Huey Lewis in the News, Power of Love, just for the heck of it?
I saw Back to the Future on cable a couple nights ago.
Okay, because this is also in Deadpool and Wolverine. That's all I'm saying. Is Power of Love is in there at some point in time as well. And it just hit Blaine like he's like, wait a second, it is in there. Yep. That's the reason I thought that's why Jackson was playing this song is because he saw Deadpool and Wolverine.
I was too busy drinking my brewski and my pizza and I was just mixing all this, just enjoying my time with, my son and everything. So
no spoilers.
It was really weird because it was who?
No popcorn?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we had that first. So we had the popcorn first, then the pizza, and then the brewski.
Dang, you had like a 4-course meal during the movie. That's amazing.
Oh, it was. I was getting up, moving around. I had to get it done because it was packed. It was the first time me and my son actually kind of sat down and had a brewski together.
That's pretty awesome. Like,
it was just me and him.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was kind of cool.
Yeah, and that is the Hitman, Blaine Bishop. Joe Hunt, brought to you by all Four Seasons Garage Doors, where phone lines are open at 615-737-1045. As practice wrapped up for the Titans' second day in pads earlier today. And there was one player that was talked about before practice, but I also think that the conversation about him plays into something that Blaine has been talking about for the last few days. And in fact, before practice, Denard Wilson spoke about Kenneth Murray and his development so far through the defensive scheme that the Titans are going with.
I love everything about Kenneth Murray. Like, the biggest thing, in the spring, remember you guys just kept asking about the green dot. In reality, man, we told Frank Bush, myself, and the defensive coaching staff, the thing we want is him to have the green light. Okay? And what that means with the green light is to cut it loose, to play with no fear, to play with no fear of making mistakes, and just seeing what he sees, believe it, and go. And then if he makes a mistake, as coaches, we can correct him to slow him down. But we want him to cut it loose, and that's what he's been doing. He's all over the field. You see it, he's sideline to sideline. With the pads on, he's so heavy on contact. But the biggest thing that I love about what Kenneth is doing is Kenneth is starting to take control of the huddle. He's starting to become a leader. People starting to listen to him, and guys rally around him. So as he keeps growing in his leadership role with all the other guys that we have, we become stronger as a defense.
You're right, because you see him pre-snap, he's kind of like that traffic cop. What is it in your experience with players that triggers that to be on alert?
Well, the first thing, you have to empower him. And that's one of the things that we wanted to do here is empower him to take that leadership role. Don't be afraid of it. And, with leadership, it takes time. It takes practice. You have to be intentional in what you're doing. And he's being intentional in that role. And when we signed him, that was one of the biggest things that we said. We said, we want you to be a guy that when you stand in the middle of the field, everyone listens to you. And he's taking that, and he's getting better at it every day.
How much does Frank Bush play into Kenneth Murray's development that we've seen so far?
Yeah, Frank Bush is the linebacker coach, and it's just like anything else. In life, sometimes you connect with other players and you speak their language, or sometimes a coach will say, "Hey, they need to figure out what I'm saying." And I think Frank Bush, with his success, not only as a former player but also as a coach in the league this long, I think he understands when you have elite talent, you want to then hone it in and then feel like you've been a part of his growth and helping him be the best player and best version of himself. And that's what he's done. That's what the great coaches do, individual coaches. And so he's probably simplified it for him. As I said before, even when they didn't have on pads, he was running around causing havoc. I can't wait to see him in pads, and seeing him in pads, he hasn't slowed down a bit. So there's a maturation process. Okay, now we got the pads on. Let's see if you can do the same things we didn't do without the pads, and then all the other things that comes with that. Because once people start watching the tape, your own teammates, even if you're not in the linebacker room, you see who's doing what, and you go, this guy is going to be an impactful player just on vision, because at some point the secondary is working with the linebackers, whether it's in pass coverages or not. So you're talking about where linebackers need to be, and you see where he's where he's at and what kind of problems he's causing and what he's really doing. So then that empowers him and makes him confident in what he's doing. Then everybody else sees that this guy is special. he has special talents and gifts. And I think, Frank Bush is doing a great job of bringing the best out of him. And sometimes it's just the connection, the communication, how you communicate as a coach. And sometimes it doesn't resonate with the player. But number two, that's just really fascinating, and they've done a fabulous job of this. The coaching staff and the scouting department, Rand included, and been over the top all of that, is that they got a guy that fits their scheme and their system. And so that can then ignite a whole nother level of a player. And I can say that perfectly by myself being in a perfect scheme myself. And it fit my skill set, and that elevated everything that I did. So I think that's what's going on here, because I think when you start seeing him in games, people are going to be like, well, dang, where was this guy at on a consistent basis?
Absolutely. Because I know that before practice started today, or as everybody was getting ready and stretching and stuff, Frank Bush, he and Kenneth Murray working together, just one-on-one, just those two going over things.
Okay, I didn't see that.
And so that's where I'm looking at this, and I'm thinking, like, that goes back to the language. Like, it seems like Frank Bush is speaking a language that Kenneth Murray, it's clicking with him in his head. Like, the either terminology or simplifying, whatever it is, it's working. Because, again, we focused on Jamal Adams. We have focused on Snead and everything with the offense, but Murray is, you've heard the parts about leadership, taking control of the huddle, like, the whole green dot thing, but it's showing like he is becoming like a leader on that defensive side. And it may simply be just because him and Frank Bush connect, and there's something there that they're speaking the same language so that Murray can grow. And I like that, to me, is bigger with the development of that, because having Murray be successful, especially if this Arden Key stuff eventually, becomes official from the NFL, you're going to need that in the linebacker group.
Yeah, no question about it. He's been inside. I'm interested to see if once Key is suspended and it becomes official, and I don't know if he's appealing it or what, do they then implement him as a pass rusher in pass rush situations? Well, and I don't know if they have the opportunity to do that with where their players are at, but are they starting to have those conversations in the defensive meeting rooms because of what's going to be coming forward here if they don't sign another pass rusher or someone doesn't elevate their game?
Yeah, because we know they signed Shane Ray. We know that, at least on a depth chart as far as a sheet of paper is concerned, Weaver is the one that is behind Arden Key. But even today, Key was practicing with the ones. Key was on the field. Weaver was working special teams. He was working with the twos. Like, there hasn't been this, hey,
there's no change yet.
There's no change yet. And I know that obviously the suspension, if and when it comes down, would only happen and be considered for the regular season. And we're now in preseason, but you kind of need to start getting a plan together if this is in fact going to happen. And so seeing Key continue to work the way that it is, I was just going, well, Weaver's over there working with the coverage units and all that sort of stuff with the new kickoff rule. So wouldn't you want him to start getting the reps with the ones if that is something that will eventually take place? I mean, I don't know how that works. I was just surprised to see Keek and everybody continuing to go with the same role, and Weaver continuing to do the same thing he's been doing.
Right. Well, I'll trust into the coaches because I don't know where the suspension or if it's official, if he's appealing it, if he's got a way he feels, that he, won't get suspended at all. I don't know that. So, but they need to, I'm sure the conversations are happening now until they start acting. Because I think MPF actually, he was running with the 2s or the 3s last year when he got suspended for the, betting on the games. So
and he still played in the preseason. Like, the preseason was massively important.
Right, but I'm talking about his reps at practice.
Absolutely, yes.
He was running with the backup unit.
It was the backup unit, yes. And so, but see, and that's where this whole...
So, it's a different coaching staff, by the way.
Different coaching staff. But see, the part now is speaking of MPF, is Skoronski practicing with the offensive line today. This past week or so has been the first time that people, not myself, but people that look at offensive line, Coach Mack was standing there, they all started going, Skoronski is starting to...
We got two former, guys that work at the station, Ramon Foster and Brad Hopkins, who've played the position and started in this league. So I'm sure they know what they see as well and go, I think he's turned the corner.
See, and he has. And that's going back to what you were talking about before the break with Callahan and being underneath Bill Callahan, working on Bertha, working on Olga, understanding the system that Bill Callahan is wanting to teach. And we're talking about a Skoronski that played, once he got back, played the whole season, but never looked like himself. why are we expecting MPF to walk back on the field on Friday and be like, oh, well, he's your starting right tackle now?
Yeah, I don't know. Because they have no other options. I think that's why we're there.
Right.
I mean, the undrafted guy, hey, hats off to him. But I'm going to just say this. I don't think he's a starter in the NFL. Now, you can get by a game or two, but if that's our number one option, I wouldn't feel real comfortable with that situation. And they're going to have to put a tight end over there or something. Now, is he doing a good job for an undrafted player? Absolutely.
Yes.
But to then think we're going to make this guy a starter, I'm not feeling that. So I think that's why everybody's saying MPF is going to be the guy. But, man, he hasn't practiced.
No.
All season. We as the media have not seen him in practice.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know how much, and coaching matters, but he hasn't been out there with Callahan. You can talk all you want to in the meeting room and do this and that, but he ain't even pushed Big Bertha.
No.
So, and it helps you in a certain kind of way to keep low on your pads and where you locate your hands and all those things. So until we start seeing him out there, man, I don't know. It may be another thing to address.
Well, and Greg asked about who is giving the right side of the offensive line so much trouble on defense. We go back to one play that you and I were talking about was where during the scrimmage, Will Levis rolling to his left side, Big Jeff right in his face. That was the right tackle. Like that was that side of the field where Will Levis was rolling off to, and he would have been sacked in that situation.
Well, it's not like it's a direct player. What you're looking for are holes, and you go, this right here is not satisfactory enough for starting in the NFL. And you go, okay, teams then can target that. They watch film. It's not even about our team. You're just watching, and we're talking about guys getting past him as well. J.C. Latham has looked solid, but it's not like he's unscathed and didn't miss a block or two too as well. But it's just we're not seeing it on a consistent basis. So you go, okay, this is solid. Does he need to continually improve? Yes. But the right side, you go, I don't know if that's going to be good enough for starting purposes in this league. So I'm hoping MPF will be back sooner than later because he needs the reps. And trust me, we saw him miss 6 games. He did not look like the same player that he was the year before.
Mm-hmm.
And we had Justin Mello on here to even confirm that.
Yes.
And who watches film all day, every day, and said he was nowhere near as good as he was the first year, which the first year he would say I would give average.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's now the whole question about MPF is I know that Titans fans are wanting the offensive line to be solidified. And yes, 30 minutes ago, we said you can already say 4 of the 5 starters, you know who they're going to be, obviously, unless there's an injury or something.
And you have depth now.
And you have depth.
Except at one spot.
Except at right tackle. And that is where, again, people called me dumb on social media because I was like, is there any way Latham can swap positions and all this stuff? If you're a defensive end and you get in front of that right tackle, you know you're about to eat him alive.
Yeah, if you
I mean, it is.
Hey, man.
I mean,
we're seeing highlights right now. I don't know what they're talking about here, but we see T.J. Watt. Imagine T.J. Watt going against him.
Yes.
I don't even know if we play the Steelers this year, but I'm just saying. All right, you got. All these great pass rushers, the Dallas Cowboys pass rushers waiting to get his money. I mean,
no Steelers, no Cowboys, just going with the conversation.
But I'm just saying, every team has an elite pass rusher that we play. I guarantee it, at least one. So yeah, they better get that fixed.
Yeah, because right now that is the weakest link on this offense. As much as Charles is playing well at the right guard position, you can say that he is going to be the starter. You can see, if you're watching practice, you can see the difference between the 1s, the 2s, and the 3s at every position on the offensive line outside of right tackle. And MPF is supposed to be back on Friday, but these are the first reps he is going to get. And now you're thinking, it took Skoronski almost a full year to get back to himself after the surgery. MPF and Skoronski was working every day. I mean, every single day that he could, he's working. And MPF, we haven't seen on the field yet.
Now, we talking about also a first rounder versus third rounder, but I get what you're saying here, and the process is gonna take some time. Hopefully sooner than later, though. We don't know how fast the process will work for him because he does have some experience starting this league. So hopefully sooner than later. But I just got to see him out here first. I got to see what he looks like. And in back-to-back days, by the way, see if he can keep stacking them.
Yeah, and somebody on the F&M Bank chat, which you can go to on YouTube, Facebook, X, as well as Twitch, you had a better view of running backs than what I did today because I was behind the defense for majority of the day and wanted to get an update on what Tajay and Pollard and those guys are looking like on there. Like, did you see anything that stood out from those guys today?
Well, yeah, they look quick. They look like what we think they will be. I mean, so I don't have the running back is the running back. I mean, what you want to see is how they're being utilized in this offense. They're going to be able to run the football, and they're still going to run the football. Don't get that twisted here, thinking they're going to throw the ball all over the yard. I don't think that's going to happen. I think they're going to try to be 50-50 and then get some matchups based off what defenses are doing with Tajay Spears and Pollard in one-on-one situations in the pass game, as we saw in the scrimmage there, on Saturday at the stadium, where Pollard catches the deep ball on a one-on-one, matchup. So they look good. What you're looking at actually is the surprises of camp, and I thought, the kid Small from UT has shown some burst that I consistently each and every day that I've been out there, which has been 3 days.
He had a touchdown in the scrimmage today.
Yeah. He bursted and took off, and I was like, whoa, who is that? And I keep coming back up. That's 31. It's 31. I'm like, So he has kind of stood out like he may be fighting for that practice squad spot, I don't know, or third spot. I have no idea, but he keeps standing out when he gets the opportunity. I think it is what it's going to be with Spears and Pollard. And people need to just stop getting infatuated with who's starting and who's not. And I'm talking about at every position. I know you're talking about the tight end position. Like, really, how much is the tight end going to be an impact on the team? I mean, but like, go back and look at the history of Callahan's offenses, things he's been a part of offenses, how much the tight end shot the ball. I think the most passes tight end caught was 53 passes in a season. So if you're talking about two guys now, we're talking about maybe they impact the team 25 catches. So I'm not going to get caught up on who is starting and who's not. It really doesn't matter at this point in time. It could be game plan oriented. It could be who felt healthy, who practiced the most during the week, and even at running back. That determines who's a starter. Ultimately, the person who's getting paid the most money should be the starter. So that's kind of how it works in the National Football League.
Which in this scenario would be Pollard.
Right. Yeah. And that I mean it's going to be every game, but initially when the season starts, I'm sure that not to say that he's better than, Spears. That doesn't mean that. It's just like, hey, they gave up a lot of money. Guess what? They want to get their money's worth.
Yes.
So whether who starts or doesn't mean that's the person who gets the most touches that game. Yeah. Doesn't mean that.
Well, and it didn't matter if it was Pollard or Spears. Both went into the slot today. Both were moving around.
Dynamic players. I really like this offense with running backs that can be multi-skilled. I'm a big fan of that because I know the issues that it can cause on defense, especially linebackers. Linebackers don't want to be in space.
No.
They don't want to be out there on the island. They're not used to standing out there like they're a cornerback. They don't like it. Yeah, so it's gonna cause some problems, especially when you see man to man. You match it up. You say check, and then just imagine if all of a sudden then you make your running back go out wide and pull your receiver in tight, and the receiver stays with the cornerback, and then all of a sudden the linebacker's out wide. I don't think he liking that.
No,
and I love that.
And
on
that
offense.
happened multiple times today during the scrimmage.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Multiple times that happened
and
because
you have
somebody
to determine, and it also is the tell-all of what the defense you're running.
Mm-hmm.
See, it tells you right there. Cornerback's not running. Cornerback not moving. Up, they're in zone. What kind of zone are they in?
Yep.
Because why is the corner on the tight end or the running back? And he shouldn't be there. He should be on the receiver.
Yeah, and there were times we saw safeties on the tight ends as well, or safeties on the running backs because of where they were going in. Like, all these things are happening because of the matchups. And it's nothing about against Derrick Henry. It's because of with these two running backs, and specifically these two, because this is the offensive design. They need both of them, and they wanted this skill set from these running backs so that they could put either one in motion. And so it wasn't 20's in, so we know it's going to be this, or 2's in, we know that's going to be that. Like the way this goes.
They got some power backs, Chestnut and Haskins is, so they bring enough to me.
And then,
but nobody's ever going to be the king. Don't get it twisted.
Absolutely not. And then there's the kickoff. And that was practiced a lot today as well. The brand new kickoff rule. The Titans were focused on it. The NFL officials that were there were focused on it. They're just next. There's a lot of information when it comes to that new kickoff that you're going to be seeing over the course of the next few weeks, as he is the hitman, Blaine Bishop. I'm Joe Hunk. You can get in that F&M Bank chat, as a lot of people are, by simply going to YouTube, Facebook, X, as well as Twitch. And, of course, phone lines open to you at 615-737-1045. continuing on this Wednesday on 104.5 The Zone, the Hitman Blaine Bishop and myself, Joe Hunt, brought to you by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. Coming up in about 30 minutes, Jordan Dajani was going to be joining us from CBS Sports to talk about not just the Titans training camp that's going on, but also other training camps around the NFL. You also, in about 13 minutes, have Team USA basketball about to get going against South Sudan as that play is starting. In fact, even the U.S. women's soccer team playing right now against Australia. But before we went to break, Blaine, we were talking about the kickoff returns and the kickoff system and everything that's going to be coming along with that, because today was the first day that I actually got to see it being practiced by the Titans and seeing kind of how everything was going on. This is going to be a work in progress. It's going to be a massive work in progress, not just for the players. I'll explain. But before practice today, special teams coach Colt Anderson was asked about the new kickoff and if the Titans have actually kind of figured out what strategy they're going to go with as we get closer to that first preseason game.
Yeah, I think it's going to be, evolving like any new play. We initially say, hey, let's do this. Then we look at it on film like, let's try something different. But no, it's been good. This play is going to evolve throughout the year. You're going to see what other teams are doing and, maybe take ideas from them. But it's fun and exciting, and hopefully we'll get some more returns and some more kickoff coverage.
Well, and then the obvious question is, all right, fine, if you're going to get some more returns, but who's going to be the man returning it? Who is actually going to be back there?
We feel pretty good about our strategy right now, about, the personnel. We got a lot of football players on the team, guys that can block, guys that can get off blocks. So ultimately that's what it's going to boil down to is who can block in space and who can win in space.
Ways to go, but who are some guys you're considering maybe at kick return?
We're considering a whole bunch of guys. I'm not going to mention one guy in particular, but guys I'm sure you could probably think of are back there. But when we come preseason, we'll have a bunch of guys back there and see what they can do.
Same way. Open up to a bunch of people.
A handful of guys back there returning, guys that have done it in the past. Young guys back there. They've all done a good job. KB, one of our coaches, has done a great job. Kind of taking the bull by the horns there, and he's helping steer those guys in the right direction. So we got a great group of guys. Guys that want to be out there, guys that want to compete, and guys that want to help this team win.
Blaine, when I tell you, he's not kidding about the number of players that they have back there trying this out.
Oh, was that many?
I think I counted
it. I was paying attention, but I wasn't paying attention. I was talking at that time.
I'm no joke. I think they have at least 8 guys that are trying.
I couldn't tell because they had a big old wall of people leading them and blocking. I was like, oh man, that looks pretty sweet. I hope it works out that way.
That was the other thing is like you're seeing these holes and I'm trying to figure out, like Coach Mack and I are standing there and I'm trying to figure out the strategy. Like with everything, there's a strategy behind all of this. And I'm looking at the kickoff and I'm thinking, all right, how's this going to work? Like, what's the whole strategy behind it? Who do you want back there? Do you want a power guy? Do you want a fast guy? Do you want a guy that's going to go through the line? Do you want a guy that's going to try to evade being in contact? Like all of this, I have no clue what's happening. But they had 8 different players back there at the least. And all 8 were different types of players. You had wide receivers. You had running backs. You had everything. Like you were talking about Small. I saw Small back there. I saw both Jacksons back there. Matthew Jackson as well as...
I thought you said you saw Bo Jackson.
No, not Bo Jackson. There is your answer. Okay. If it's Bo knows new kickoffs. Like it is that you give it to Bo and just let Bo go. That is all you have to do. Bo Jackson probably could run through this team right now with this new kickoff rule.
Oh, man.
I saw Jaquan Jackson. I saw him. I think I saw Michael Jackson. I saw all Jacksons.
I don't think you saw Michael.
No, I didn't see Michael. No, I didn't see Michael. But I will say, first person back there is Traylon Burks. First person taking the kickoffs is Burks. So the whole thing and everybody asking about who it should be. I know Slay was on this just always wanting Burks back there doing it. This is Burks' opportunity. If he is going to be something, the Titans are giving him the opportunity to be the one.
I have to give credit this offseason when they started first talking about the rules. I heard Mike Heath say he thought Burks was going to be probably one of those initial guys because of his size, his athleticism, and being able to make people miss, because it kind of got to have a little bit of power to you. And he has that with his size. So we shall see if that works out that way, because it seems that way. You said he was out there with the one.
Oh, yeah. I mean, no, yeah, he was when I looked over.
He looks quicker, by the way, out there, even at receiver.
He looks
and I'm not going to talk about he looks body different and all that. It just, he looks quicker. That's what he looks like to me. And I'm talking about off the cuff, like when he comes off the ball, running his routes, getting out of his breaks. He looks like, he's an NFL receiver, where before he was just a real talented, big receiver.
When we come back, I want to ask you, because that brought something to my mind. You talked about how Traylon Burks looks in 2024 as far as motion. I know that we've talked about Caleb Farley. Yes, there's a lot of players that are on this Titans team in 2024 that we saw in 2023 that weren't as successful as we were hoping for. Mm-hmm. So far, since you've been out there, what player have you seen the biggest difference in? Just give you a second to think about that. You can answer as well in the F&M Bank chat as far as videos you've seen, players, coaches, everything that you've heard of when it comes to the way that training camp currently goes. Which player from last year's Titans team are you seeing or hearing the most about when it comes to the difference between last year and this year? 615-737-1045. As he is the Hitman Blaine Bishop, I'm Joe Hunk, brought to you by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. This is 1045 The Zone. Good afternoon from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Joe Hunk. Not only were the Titans on the field today for practice, but today was also day one for the Tennessee Vols over in Knoxville, as they were just in helmets and shorts getting going as they prepare for their first game coming up on August 31st. The NFL is moving closer to the chain gang being totally gone out of the NFL, as the NFL executive Gary Brantley told the Associated Press earlier today that they will test Sony's new Hawkeye technology during preseason games, but he thinks that most likely everything will not be fully implemented until next season. And coming up here in mere moments on Peacock, you'll be able to watch the U.S. men's basketball team take on South Sudan. For all your foundation repair waterproofing needs, you need to visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Vols. This is the flagship station for your Tennessee Titans. This is 104.5 The Zone. Second hour, final hour, best hour on 104.5 The Zone. As 3HL's coming up in 1 hour from right now. We're getting a lot of comments on the F&M Bank chat from the question that we asked at the very end of the hour. You can hop in there as well as you're sitting at work, as you can hop on YouTube, Facebook, X, as well as Twitch, and look up and watch Zone TV. He is the hitman, Blaine Bishop. I'm Joe Hunk, brought to you by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. Before we went to break, I was asking you, Blaine, about which player is standing out to you about the difference between them in 2023 on this Titans team and 2024, because you mentioned just how comfortable Traylon is starting to look in this offense and on the field.
I mean, he looks quicker to me. He's running his routes and is showing he's making some plays here or there, every time I'm out there. So I don't know if he's probably improved the most. I think this is what we're really talking about, who's improved or continues to improve. And, he always starts with the quarterback, Levis and Willis. I think they're both improved from last season. Want to see if they can continually do it on a consistent basis. And that's what makes a pro is you start gaining that trust if you can do it on a consistent basis. So your coaches start trusting you and then feel like, okay, this is who he is. Because if you're inconsistent, then it shows you that's who you are. So I would start with the quarterbacks. We already talked about Burks, but I would say Farley's improved. Wiley continues to improve as a complete tight end. Want to see if they can, translate it in. You got to go one day at a time, but see if eventually you can do it in the preseason and then do it in the regular season. And then finally, I would say Skoronski. And he was a first rounder, and then he started off well, then he kind of hit a low, then he had surgery there for appendectomy, or I think, right?
Yes.
And so he never got back to form where he was before. So he looks like he's going to be a dude the way he's been practiced. So I would say he's improved drastically, and see if they can all, as young players, do it each and every day and grind it all out. And it's about focus, and how do you maintain that focus throughout training camp, which is tough, and then the preseason, then in the regular season. So do you develop that rapport and trust at all your positions with the people playing around you, and that will help you play consistent. But we got to make sure you got the marbles in between the ears to stay focused.
Yeah, well, and does a lot of this have to do with like their being in the league as long as they have? Because the guys we've mentioned, Traylon Burks, we've talked about him. Malik Willis, you mentioned him. Both of those guys are going into like year 3 in the NFL. I know Caleb Farley it was before them, but at the same time, off the field issues is, obviously the injuries and things like that. And off the field issues, I'm talking about like with the family, nothing like you did anything wrong. Mm-hmm. But you're starting to see this, and I'm wondering, like, is it because of them being in the league longer that now things are starting to click, or is it the coaching staff now?
I don't know. I think if you ask that question, I think it'll be an individualized question. Each individual player probably would lean into different facets of what you're mentioning, whether it's the coach, their health, or just their experience in the league and understanding what they need to do to be successful in the league. So I think all those answers would probably play a part in that if you asked each individual player. But experience, you always know coming back that second year after your rookie season, you now understand what you need to do. And sometimes it's not what you were doing, it's what you were not doing and then you learn and grow on how to be successful in this league. So a lot of it's a learning experience, and so we shall see. All of them. There was one time Farley though. He was really mad at himself. They call I'm gonna give it the 3 technique, and this is for a cornerback. So it's cover 3, but he's supposed to stay outside. That means you're not supposed to give out an outside route. He plays outside. He gets overly aggressive, and thinks the guy's running deep, and he stays on his outside shoulder, and then he peeks into the backfield. Can't do it. You got to watch your guy. Guy runs a deep comeback on an out. Remember, he's supposed to take away the out. The called defense took it away, and he didn't do it. Gave up. He was really, you could tell, disappointed in himself. And I never saw a coach correct him, because I'm sure they're going to correct it on the film. Next play, here's what I like to watch is how they respond to a boo-boo. It didn't give up a touchdown. It was just an outcut that he knows that he was cover 3 and he's supposed to be outside leverage. So next play, I think they ran a screen there, and he comes up and ear holes the offensive lineman. Now, the offensive lineman may have thought it was, a fly, but he, for a cornerback, was really physical and attacked him. And the ball ended up getting cut inside. I think it was small, maybe. And so that shows you he was disappointed in himself, but also how he responded to that mess up. So I kind of like watching that more so than any, because he did mess up. So he's improving, but he understands what he needs to be doing. And that's part of the process. Sometimes players don't even know that they really messed up.
Oh, yeah, and not only that, he didn't let it go from one play to the next play. Like, he wasn't still thinking about it.
Yeah, he was pissed off about it. Yes. He was like, I can't let that happen. That's exactly what he's saying, because they can't call a better call for me to make a play on that ball or make sure it was incomplete. So, those are part of, and him missing a lot of time at practice and not being around the team at times for personal reasons. I understand completely. So hopefully his body stays healthy for him to have a really outside shot to be maybe that last corner that's on the roster.
Because there are players that you and I have talked about on and off the air that we're looking at this and going, but wait a second. I mean, they're towards that bottom of that roster about making the roster. Like Farley, like you mentioned, this secondary is much better than what he was when he was drafted in 2021.
Right.
So what is his role? Where is his fit? What is he going to be doing? I know he's improving, and it's good. He's being healthy.
And it may not be enough.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know.
He may eventually be a practice squad guy, like you've talked about with some other guys. But at the same time, this is now becoming kind of a numbers game. And we're 10 days away from the first game, and you're thinking, okay, like, these guys are doing well, but is it enough? Like Jabari Small, you mentioned him.
Yeah, he looks good, but, I mean, sometimes the numbers, and does that then say, okay, he could possibly make the roster as a special teamer, but maybe more so practice squad? You just don't know, because you can go Chestnut, you got Haskins, you got to have a power back, and they're a good special teams player. Don't know how well Small is as a special teamer. So
he was doing kickoffs as well. He was part of the 25 men.
He's trying to find a way to say, I can do multiple things to make sure that they ain't got a reason to, just actually say, well, you can't do this, so we can't keep you. That's what happens when you get into the league. You got to be multifaceted and trying to find a way to, hey, you're going to keep me some kind of way, because it's not happening, because I know I can play. So it's going to be tough sledding for a lot of really good players, especially on the skill side. There's other players out there doing well and continue to improve. There's some things I want to see more out of him, like Julie Lale. I want to see him, run on a go route with someone, and he got a downshift and hit that other gear.
Because he got burnt today.
Oh, did he? I didn't see it. I didn't see that. I just wanted. That was one of my things when I watched him last week. As well as he did, I said, man, when he was running with that D-ball, even though they didn't throw to the guy, it's like, oh, his hammies was looking kind of like Hitman hammies.
Like Hitman now hammies, or Hitman back in hammies?
Yeah, back then hammies.
Okay.
Back when I had good hammies. So it was like, I don't know. Because when you get in that game and, these receivers, they're, it's I call it, not just game speed, but ball speed. And when I say ball speed, I'm talking about they have another gear. The ball get in the air. This is what happens. You know, two guys are running together. He's like, dang, man, they running right there. Then all of a sudden the ball gets in the air, and then the receiver looks like he just downshifted and had a whole other gear and just burst.
Yep.
Yeah, because they are go as fast as they need to go to get to that ball, and you've reached peak speed. And you don't have another gear.
You're in fifth gear. He was still in fourth. You just didn't know he was still in fourth.
Right.
Yeah.
That's exactly what happened. That's when you know that you are not a corner. You didn't become safety, a la Hitman. Right there.
There's the Hitman hammies that you were talking about.
That's it. You know, you just go, whoa, dang. Man, I was rolling.
I thought I had him. I was proud of myself. I was like, I'm side by side with this guy. Like, he ain't got nothing on me. Wait, where are you going?
That's when you start learning all these tricks that I used to do. Hit their arm to mess up their stride frequency, hit their leg, and that'll bother and that irritates them because it's messing up their stride, especially with the arms. So, I learned I punch them in the belly too, you know, just so they can go take a breath of fresh air.
Yeah, just every once in a while, just make sure they have a
hey,
deep...
man, whatever I had to do to survive.
Yeah.
I will survive. So, that's what's going on right now.
I thought you was going to keep singing.
No, I'm only going to give you that. That's all I got. I was happy that I got that out.
Well, no, then there's the other guy that we were seeing on the F&M Bank Chat, Malik Willis.
Yeah.
Malik look, again, I was at practice last week and at practice this week, and there's been 2 or 3 practices in between. He's grown from that first practice that I saw him at to this practice, making decisions, checking down, looking at and seeing where the defensive line has shifted. Like I saw it multiple times today. Like it may be another one of those where that's that third year.
Well, it's third year.
Yeah.
Also, he's in his third offense too, by the way. And I think they coach quarterbacks a little bit differently. I heard him in an interview, and that's just kind of what I took from it. He didn't say it like that. That's just kind of how I viewed it. In that, you know, now he's going through his progression reads. He understands when he's supposed to get rid of the ball and who he's supposed to be reading, and it's kind of finally starting to click in for him, and he looks like a different player. It looks like he can potentially be a 2 at some point in time. So you got to continually do it on a daily basis and then do it in a game, preseason game, because that's probably where he's going to get his opportunity. And then so they can then trust in you, and then maybe he then will be the third, and then the goal maybe the next year to be the 2. And then now you are one play away from solidifying yourself as a starter, or at least a guy that you know that can get paid, even if you're a backup, kind of like a la Rudolph, right?
Absolutely. And Mason Rudolph is all he's doing is being that guy.
Yeah.
Like that's it. He comes in, he doesn't make dumb decisions, he doesn't make bad plays, he doesn't stand out doing anything crazy with deep ball or anything. He's just doing exactly what he needs to be efficient, just in case his number's called.
Yeah.
Like that's just the way it even looked today. You had Will Levis deep ball. As a matter of fact, the Titans just put out the video of Tajay Boyd going over Roger McCreary. By the way, beautiful pass, beautiful catch.
Tyler Boyd.
What was that first name?
Yeah, it was incredible. It was right below, right where I was sitting too.
Yeah.
And I just knew it was going to be a PBU. That's called pass break up.
Yes.
By Roger McCreary, because he saw it the whole way and he jumped up and it went right over his fingertips.
Oh.
We call that the almost. And the almost will get you almost to the sideline or on the bench. So that play was not supposed to have what a spectacular, great
Beautiful
throw as well as a great catch.
Absolutely. And so that's where Tyler Boyd comes in and going, wait a second, like there's that receiver. Like I know that, you know, we see NWI still out there and he's done things for this team as far as being efficient and everything, but just like we were talking about last hour where you could see the difference on the offensive line between the 1, the 2s, and the 3s, you're now starting to see that at the wide receiver position of your 1, 2, 3 guy and the ones that are below him, and how the difference is between what the Titans had and what they have now. Like you can see that with Tyler Boyd, with Ridley. D-Hop now, you're watching him and you're like, oh yeah, there's D-Hop as well. Like because Ridley is showing out. Like he's making plays on the sidelines and you're going, how'd he get his feet down?
And this is what I love. Now we got NWI, who's a quality player in this league in a backup role, is right where he needs to be. He's more of a 4 or 5. And if that's where that guy is at, then now you are making strides at the wide receiver position because that's where he really should be. And then that's not to say he can't be productive and if get the opportunity, he can show that he can be a 3 in this league because he kind of showed that he could be a 3-4, 3 or 4 guy.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that's when you know you've got some talent, especially with all the talent around the league at wide receiver now.
Yeah, and yes, I said Tajay Boyd and not Tyler
That's why
Boyd.
I say Tyler Boyd.
Yeah, Tyler Boyd. Alonzo was like, who's that again? And Jackson asked, I was like, Tyler Boyd. And I went, wait, what did I say? Sometimes the mouth works faster than the mind, and it doesn't work out well. But that doesn't happen with Jordan Dajani. I get excited. I won't lie. This Titans team does have me excited.
Oh, no doubt about it.
I mean, it does.
I'm excited on both sides of the ball. And to see some of these camp battles, but I think we're going to see a different version of what we've seen over the last handful of years. And it's going to be exciting. And it's going to be some, ups and downs throughout the whole process. But, I think we're going to see some points on the board. And I think we're going to see some defenses get after the quarterback. And there's going to be some turnovers and some Oskies and things like that, and taking it to the house. And it's going to be you're going to get toasted and there's going to be some interceptions. So it's going to be fun to watch at worst case scenario.
And as we're about to go to Jordan Dajani, but at the same time, do you know how great it is to go, all right, well, time to kick a field goal and not worry about Nick Folk? Like the past few years, we're going, okay, so who's kicking? Like, all right, is he going to be accurate? Is he going to be good? Is he going to miss it? Is he going to go wide right, wide left? You just go, all right, field goal time, Nick Folk. Like, there's so many positions that we've had questions about for years. Don't have that now. We'll talk to Jordan Dajani about that when we come back as well. CBS Sports, as he is the hitman Blaine Bishop. I'm Joe Hunk, brought to you by All Four Seasons Garage Doors here on 104.5 The Zone.
Did you know Eurofix has a very different business philosophy? They staff all their locations with more staff than the average auto repair shop, just so they can be ready for when your emergency pops up out of nowhere. So have you ever noticed how hard it is to get a right now appointment for a vehicle repair? Well, some dealers can be more than 2 weeks out just to get a freaking appointment, but not Eurofix. Eurofix has been offering quality repairs that beat the dealer without the dealer pricing since 1999. Plus a 3-year nationwide warranty and staff to fix your car right now. So if you're tired of waiting forever to get your car into the shop, then call Eurofix. Owner Aaron Stokes says, we will never be too busy for our customers. We're here to take their pain away, and we mean right now. So Eurofix repairs all European cars. And Eurofix says yes to speedy repair when others can't or won't. Family owned for 24 years. And all you have to do is just give them a call at 844-EUROFIX. That's right, 844-EUROFIX, or you can visit them online at myEurofix.com. That's myEurofix.com. But always tell them Blaine said you.
That's how everything felt at Titans practice today. Everybody was all happy and just smiles all around and everybody in a good mood. A second day of padded practice took place over at St. Thomas Sports Park. And as we speak right now, you also have Team USA taking on the South Sudan in men's basketball, and they're up by 8 at the commercial break. But Jordan Dajani has been out at practice. He was out a couple last week as well. And Jordan, as we bring you on, there was one thing that we were talking about before you hopped on was players from the 2023 season that look different in 2024. When you were out at practice, who was that for you?
What's going on, my friends? Thanks for having me on the show. You know, one guy that I definitely noticed in some 7-on-7 stuff, and someone who has certainly been talked about by a lot of local reporters, probably has to be tight end Josh Wiley. I mean, this is a really big target. Someone who could potentially serve as a security blanket for a young quarterback in what hopefully is a prolific passing attack. And it's kind of interesting because you have a guy like Chigo Conquo who has a little bit more experience, but he's not, I wouldn't describe him as your traditional blocking tight end. He's your versatile pass catcher. Going back to all the stuff he did at Maryland, I mean, he was taking reverses out of the backfield. So for Josh Wiley, could he be that guy to really pop in the middle of the field for Will Levis? He's certainly someone who made some waves.
Well, and one other one that Blaine was talking about just a minute ago was Traylon Burks and how much smoother he's looking on the football field. And one thing that we talked about was, you know, even his body, you could see it's changed a little bit as far as he looks in better condition in 2024.
Yeah, how can we not talk about Traylon Burks? I mean, it brought me great joy just to see that dude have some highlights on social media. And I understand it's training camp and it's one-on-one versus defensive backs who may end up being practice squad guys, but his route running in some of these clips looked really good. And I think, as you mentioned, he noticeably looks different. Like, he looks quicker. He looks a little bit slimmer. He looks like he is motivated to stay healthy and have what could potentially be a career year. And I understand why he might be wide receiver 4 in this rotation, but if this is a guy who can remain healthy, then potentially he could carve out a small role in this offense, potentially.
As we're joined right now, Jordan Dajani of CBS Sports on 104.5 The Zone.
Jordan, I guess give us some clarity. I know Key is potentially being suspended for PEDs, and I say potentially because he was still out there running with the ones today. So kind of take us through, I guess, the NFL process of when they then enact. Is that for the regular season where you just can't be at the facility? I know last year MPF, it was for gambling naturally, he was then running with the 2s or the 3s, actually the 3s last year. So I'm interested to see, what do you know about the actual rule, how it has to be implemented, or does it have to be a closed case and has to be over?
Right. I mean, it's kind of an interesting situation because Paul Kuharsky reported this suspension and the NFL hasn't really exactly levied it just yet. And I think you can say the same for Danico Autry because Danico Autry kind of got out in front of it, issued a statement saying he was exploring, you know, potential legal action, things like that. I don't know if Arden Key has commented on it. I don't know if you guys were able to talk to him at practice, but it's interesting because the NFL hasn't exactly levied the suspension just yet. Now, I'm not 100% sure if he can participate in preseason games. I know that MPF was allowed to with his suspension. He might be able to, but then again, does Tennessee want to give him a lot of preseason reps? You're not 100% sure about that. But I know he can perform in practice and still work with the ones, as you mentioned. So Brian Callahan did comment on it yesterday, saying that he was aware of the news, but he's not going to have any more comments on it until the NFL releases his official statement. But bottom line, guys, I mean, this is a massive hit to what is already considered to be one of the thinnest position groups for the Tennessee Titans. And then you have Harold Landry finally back at practice, but he admitted that he lost some considerable weight with the illness that he was dealing with. And it seems like Tennessee is going to have to hit the free agent market to find someone who's able to at least be a rotational piece in this defense.
Well, comparison to each team, the Texans with Archery and Key with the Titans, which player will you think will be missed the most?
Yeah, it's a really good question because with Danico Autry, I mean, he's a solidified veteran that Houston went out in free agency and tried to acquire. The Texans put a huge emphasis on trying to beef up the defensive front. And I'm not talking just with starters. I'm talking about with their backups as well. So I'd actually make the argument that, you know, Arden Key missing from Tennessee is a bigger deal because not only is he a starter at pass rusher, but again, I think that the pass rusher for Tennessee is one of the more thin position groups. When it comes to the Texans' interior defensive line, I don't think I would argue that it's one of the most thin position groups on their team. I mean, they went out there and they got Mario Edwards Jr. in free agency. They got Fatu Kasi starting on the defensive interior as well. So it's certainly definitely a hit for the Texans. I'm not trying to argue that it's not, but they definitely have some pieces that they can fill in right there. And with Tennessee, I think, again, that you're going to see them have to at least explore the possibility of adding another pass rusher.
We got Russell Wilson on the shelf there with a calf injury. Does this open the door or window for Fields to just kind of take the job, or do you think it'll be handed back, depending on how long he's out? Russell Wilson, that is.
Potentially. So Russell Wilson did return to practice. I think it was yesterday, but he did not practice in full. So Justin Fields, on the other hand, he apparently had his best day of practice working with the ones. And head coach Mike Tomlin even said that Justin Fields has taken advantage of those opportunities. So that led me to hit up our reporter who's on the ground up there. And he told me that Justin Fields has certainly done well and he should not be overlooked. And he also told me that, something that I've actually been telling you guys for some time now, I feel like Justin Fields, he may fit Arthur Smith's offense better. He can run the football. He's a more athletic profile. And that's an element of his game that apparently the Steelers really like. Plus, he apparently has a nice rapport being established with wide receiver 1, George Pickens, which is incredibly important. So it seems like he's building some confidence among the Steelers locker room. Now, with all that being said, Russell Wilson was brought in to this franchise to be the starter, but he certainly is going to have to earn that job as well. So I think Russell Wilson should certainly still be the favorite to trot out the Steelers offense out in week 1 when we get the season underway. But I think the reporter put it to me best. Justin Fields should not be overlooked just yet.
Well, since we're talking about quarterbacks, off the cuff, top 5 quarterbacks in the National Football League. Your opinion?
Top 5 quarterbacks in the National Football League. Well, there is some guy named Patrick Mahomes. I probably have to give him the number 1 spot.
Of course.
Number 2, it's tough. I mean, Lamar Jackson is the youngest player to win 2 MVPs this quick, but in terms of a passer, I might be leaning a little bit towards Joe Burrow, and I understand there's a narrative around his injuries, right? But I really do feel like Joe Burrow, his football IQ is arguably the highest in the league when it comes to playing the most important position. So if you were offering me any quarterback in the NFL, I might lean towards Joe Burrow at number 2. At number 3, I'll put Lamar Jackson. He has the accolades to back it up. Number 4, Josh Allen has to be up there in the top 5 as well. And at number 5, it's tough. We don't know if C.J. Stroud, he's going to have to prove himself that he wasn't just a one-year wonder. I'm very confident he can do that. Justin Herbert is someone who hasn't really shown the ability to win the quote-unquote big game or play from behind. Dak Prescott's trying to break the market. Some guy I brought up to you a couple weeks ago was actually Matthew Stafford of the Los Angeles Rams. And talking to his teammates, he's someone who I have a great appreciation for. And I understand he's on the older side, but when it comes to experience, toughness, arm talent, all of those things that is necessary for a star quarterback, I feel like Matthew Stafford has that. So if we're having a quarterback fantasy draft for someone to be a leader on my team, at least for just one season, Matthew Stafford would be up there as well.
There you have it. Jordan Dajani, NFL writer for CBS Sports.
So to become a good quarterback, though, sometimes maybe your first season, even your second season, you may need to play in the preseason, but Caleb Williams will not be on the field tomorrow night for the Bears. Do you think that's a good decision it's not just him, it's all of the ones, but do you think it's a good decision not to be having him play in the Hall of Fame game?
Right. So the Bears are kind of in an interesting situation because I don't think the Hall of Fame game counts as, your first preseason game because you still have to play 3 preseason games on top of the Hall of Fame game. So I understand the decision to not play him, but how cool would it be to have your quote-unquote generational quarterback, the number 1 overall pick in this past draft, begin his career in Canton where you want it to end as well? So if I was the decision maker for the Chicago Bears, I'd probably give him at least 1 drive to just throw him out there in front of the crowd, add some more excitement to what is already an exciting weekend. But again, since the Bears have what is really 4 preseason games, unlike basically every other NFL team, you do have to understand their thought process when it comes to playing some other players in what promises to be the most vanilla preseason game of all time.
Yeah, it's really just the excitement of seeing helmets going up against each other on a football field. That's the way it feels. Like, seriously, you turn it over, you look at it, and you go, oh, my God, so beautiful. Okay, let me get back to what I was watching.
But here's the other thing, too. I will tell you this. There is I shouldn't call it the most vanilla preseason game of all time, because there is one big reason to watch this football game this week, and that is the NFL's new kick return, which we will see on TV for the first time.
Look, I'll tell you, we were talking about it last hour, and we watched the Titans practice this thing today, and I said 8. There might have been 10. There might have been 12. There might have been 15 guys back there that the Titans were trying out to figure out who they were going to have with this kickoff. Like, it is such a new, unique thing that the team is trying to figure it out. And Jordan, there were refs there today that were helping with not only the scrimmaging, but also this new kickoff rule. And they were saying, look, we're learning all this for the first time as well. Like, it's not just the players that are having to learn this new kickoff system. The referees are having to learn where they're going to set up, what they're looking for. Everything is involved with that. And that may be what you just said, the most interesting reason to watch this game tomorrow night.
Yeah, there's no doubt. And, it's fun to really think about, who do you want returning kicks? Do you want your fastest guy? Do you want your shiftiest guy? Because there is a difference with those 2 players, and we don't know which player is best suited for this new rule change. But let me tell your listeners this, because I've actually been watching film on these XFL kickoffs, and I have a couple of questions, and I have a couple of things to point out for you guys when you watch this on your TV screens tomorrow. So with this new kickoff return, it's kind of setting up this loose sort of line of scrimmage, let's call it, being established, right, with the clashing of the 2 teams at that setup zone. So if a player picks a side to return the ball, or more specifically picks a lane, how do the defenders, the defense, if you will, not closest to the ball react, right? So I started watching some tape of XFL teams being aggressive, and the players on the opposite side straight up taking these pursuit angles to the opposite side of the ball without establishing any kind of contain for their side. And that's kind of important if a team decides to run a reverse off a return, which we've seen in the XFL sometimes. So I'm really interested in not who the returners are and how the blocking works, but how the coverage team in general, how those teams on defense figure out how to pursue the ball carrier, because it's going to be a whole new level of defense that we have not seen before.
Jordan, as much as in America we don't pay attention to as much soccer as what we do with NFL football and basketball and that sort of thing, but one thing that soccer has right is they have chips in the ball that you can figure out where the ball actually is, if it did or didn't pass a certain line. The NFL is finally at least going to be using this in the preseason. And in the spirit of growth, can you think of another thing that the NFL could potentially look at to kind of grow and to get into the modern age?
That's a good question, because I think they're trying to do something similar with the helmets and with the Guardian caps that they're trying to paint over with covers to make them more like traditional helmets. But that's not something I'm really exactly in favor of. I kind of like the traditional helmet, but I bring that up because I feel like it's a direction we're going in that we're eventually going to arrive at, where we're not having those hard helmets. We're going to have soft padded helmets with technology in them that can better look at concussions, better look at hard hits. And that's exactly why these Guardian caps were really invented. And now entering this year, NFL players have the option, if they want to wear those caps in a game. But we have not seen any reports of any players taking up the NFL on this opportunity. But I do bring that up because it seems like every year we're inching forward, not only with the technology, but by the look of the Guardian caps itself. They're mandatory for training camp. You guys have seen them out on the practice field. Now they're allowed to be worn in NFL games if a player chooses so. So what exactly is next? I think that's something to keep an eye on.
Austin in the F&M Bank chat said, ain't nobody going to be wearing those Guardian caps in the game. Look, and it was weird today, Jordan, to see, because almost every player has them on outside of the quarterbacks. Like almost every player does. It was actually kind of weird to see the quarterbacks not have them on.
Right. And I think that's actually by NFL rule. I think the players who are not quarterbacks or kickers, punters have to wear those caps for training camp. I believe that's an NFL rule. But I agree with the commenter. I think they look goofy. They look like some kind of alien outside of another world coming in. But again, it's not a change. It's not a rule change that I want to see happen, but it does kind of feel like we're moving a little bit closer in that direction.
He is Jordan Dajani of CBS Sports on 104.5 The Zone.
Well, Jordan, are we getting closer for Jamar Chase, who is chasing the bag to get paid? You think it's going to happen?
We don't know. And if you're asking me to make a prediction, I don't think it's going to happen. But this is actually a column I wrote for CBSSports.com. I think it was a week ago today. Because, it was reported, a couple weeks ago before training camp that Jamar Chase was indeed going to report for training camp and avoid whatever fines could potentially come his way. So that was a thing that made all Bengals fans breathe a sigh of relief. But he has not really participated much in practice. And Zach Taylor's been kind of mum on the subject. He's talked about having this plan for his starting wide receivers to not take a lot of reps. But at the same time, we have to ask the question, right? Is Jamar Chase holding in Cincinnati, and what is the potential resolution that these two sides can reach? But listening to the comments from their owner, that's why I bring up, I don't think that a potential contract extension is going to get done. He might have to wait until next year, which I know is something that he and his representation are very aware of. I don't know if there's something that can happen in terms of more guarantees on his contract, but he's a rookie. But the other player that we should really keep an eye on for a contract extension coming down the line might have to be CeeDee Lamb of the Dallas Cowboys. The Cowboys have not extended any of these major players who are arguably the best at their respective positions. CeeDee Lamb, who is holding out and accruing fines, may be that next guy to receive that big wide receiver extension.
Well, lastly, before we let you go, NFL and NFLPA are discussing an 18-game schedule. What should be some of the points of emphasis in this discussion from both sides?
Oh, man. I mean, there's a lot of them. And, it's funny. Joe Burrow went on a podcast and kind of talked about this and laid out his plan. And I really haven't figured out something better than his proposal, right? He talked about having 2 straight bye weeks for all NFL teams after expanding the regular season to 18 games, the Pro Bowl taking place in one of those weeks, similar to what the NBA does with their All-Star game, which I think is pretty interesting. But also, I brought this up. I mean, the Super Bowl could then line up with President's Day, which could make the next day a national holiday for the USA, which would be a big deal as well. But one con that I would like to ask Joe Burrow is that the Pro Bowl players, those selected to the All-Star game, they would not be getting 2 bye weeks, right? They would have to travel somewhere, do media events, skill drills, flag football game, all this kind of stuff. And I know it's not taxing, but it's not exactly restful either. So people selected to the Pro Bowl in this hypothetical would not be getting 2 bye weeks. But the bye weeks is definitely going to be the main point of concern when it comes to the NFLPA negotiating with the NFL for regular season expansion.
There you have it.
Yeah, Jordan Dajani, CBS Sports, man. We absolutely appreciate it. As always, we'll be talking to you next Wednesday, man.
Hey, anytime, guys. Thanks so much.
All right, thank you very much, sir. And as that was happening, we also finally got word that Reggie Bush's Heisman Trophy has officially made its way back to USC. They just posted pictures of it finally being put in its spot amongst all the other Heisman trophies. So Reggie Bush has his Heisman back. And if you think it's hot now, Nashville Severe Weather just put out what the heat index is right now in the city of Nashville. It's high. I'll explain when we come back on 104.5 The Zone.
You're high.
No, not me. Stay hydrated if you are outside right now, as yes, we talked about at the beginning of the show how hot it was over at St. Thomas Sports Park, but National Severe Weather says that the B&A Shade Box has the heat index right now at 103, and National Severe Weather says that where they're at, the heat index is actually 110 outside. Music literally died right when I said 110. 110 is the heat index outside in some places.
Wow.
Yeah. So just
don't miss those days.
No, just stay hydrated.
Wasn't like that this morning though, but
no, this morning
it was still a little smoky, but not like that.
No, it was humid. It was very humid, and it's not that bad over in Paris, unless you're playing for South Sudan, who Team USA is up on by 20 points right now as they're at the half.
Oh, in basketball.
In basketball. And then you also have Katie Ledecky. Did I say that right? Katie Ledecky? Okay. She just finished up wrapping up the winning, or I should say breaking the women's 1,500 meter freestyle Olympic record.
Wow.
She was so far ahead in the race, that the one shot of her finishing the race had nobody else in the video. There was nobody else in the shot.
And it'll be replayed tonight at 7, by the way.
Absolutely. And you can watch it. There's nobody else even close to her as she finished. Like, she was so far ahead, she could have gotten out of the pool and gotten on the ledge and started drying off before the other Olympians, not just some lady down the street at the Y swimming. Olympians even finished their race.
Yeah. Well, also, speaking of ladies, the gymnastics ladies, the women's team won gold overall as a team, so that was pretty cool too. I watched that last night.
Yep. So all of that is happening as that wrapped up, and women's rugby.
Did they win?
They won bronze yesterday on the equivalent of a last second 99-yard touchdown. So go back a few years. Remember the King breaking off a 99-yard touchdown run. Think about that with no time remaining, and then the extra point winning the game for you. That was the equivalent of how Team USA Rugby won. And the girl who can give the tough stiff arms is now going national. Yes. Matter of fact, Derrick Henry was asked about her earlier today up at Ravens camp about her stiff arm compared to his. Because
Did he say he's seen it?
Yes, he said he has seen it, and they love seeing it because, look, she's giving some nasty stiff arms. I mean, like, we got excited for Derrick Henry to give one or maybe one a game. She gave like 5 in one run the other day during her rugby match that we were watching.
Yeah, I remember that one that got me, kind of somewhat similar like Just Normal, but not quite as bad. But I definitely got.
Who got you?
Who got?
Yeah, who got you?
I just talked to him yesterday, too. I didn't even think about it, though. Corey Dillon.
Oh, Corey Dillon got you?
Yeah, he got me. And I got, and I said, I will never get got again. That's what I'm saying. You sit there on your sideline and you go, okay, how can I keep this from happening? So then I came up with this chop. Then you grab them around the back. You chop the straight arm. You chop it. You got to time it. You got to chop it. And then you reach for a ball behind and then grab them. And then they either going to come down because they're worried about fumbling or you're going to have to wrap them up and lasso them.
So that's how you don't get got.
Then that's how I never got again.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. There's some guys in the NFL
going
to
need to figure it out. I was like, that is never happening to me again. And by the way, that was on Monday night.
Ricky,
I'll never forget.
I was about to say, Ricky even says on the F&M Bank chat, well, at least we didn't have Twitter whenever you got because it would have been everywhere.
Oh,
if you
I felt like I was
got.
just rolling around like, what the heck just happened?
Why do I feel like I flew somewhere?
I was like, what the? Oh, my gosh. You kidding me?
I got.
Much respect to Corey Dillon, though. He was a great back.
A beast.
Yeah, he was.
Like an absolute beast when he was.
Yeah, him and Fred Taylor up at the top of me.
You want to talk about like two massive and amazing running backs, especially Corey Dillon, first with the Bengals, then he goes to New England to try to get that ring. Because wasn't he the running back on New England when they went undefeated into the Super Bowl?
I don't know. He might have been.
I think he was the running back because I think he went to New England with Junior Seau to try to win that Super Bowl. Like they were a part of that team.
Yeah, because he was there, I think, for like 2 years.
Yes, because I mean, it was that New England Patriot team. Like it wasn't just Randy Moss, and it wasn't just Tom Brady.
Dang.
And he doesn't have a ring.
Oh, he doesn't.
No, Corey Dillon. No, let's see. So
I should have. I'm gonna ask him. I'm gonna call.
No, Corey Dillon wasn't on that team. So now I need to figure out where Corey Dillon was when that took place.
On his couch.
On his couch, probably stiff arming something else. I mean, like, look, you're the one that said it. I was just going with
something else.
Yeah, it was actually no. Dillon was before that. He did win the Super Bowl. Dillon was on the team that beat the Eagles and with the Patriots down in Jacksonville.
Yeah, okay.
That was that Super Bowl. So he did get his ring. You're right. It was he was 04 to 06 was when Corey Dillon was a New England Patriot.
He was a bad man.
See, and then we hear Blaine had a plan for everything.
Oh yeah, after that happened. That, I promise that was never going to happen again.
No, to show you how Blaine has the plan for everything, he's already got his car cooling down because it's 110 degree heat index because he knows that we got to get out of here. So in the meantime.
And in between time.
Peace.